Hello and welcome to episode 20 of In PS We Trust. My name's Davey and joined with me as always is Phil.
It's coming home, boys.
And Spencer.
Is it?
Yes. Yes, it is.
We're a fortnightly PlayStation podcast and we each bring one topic of conversation to the table to go in depth on. But first, before we get into that, I do need to make something clear. Listeners, it's episode 20. It's time for a fucking blowout, boys. It's a blowout!
We're having a blowout.
It's fucking blowout and I'm already dying.
It's going to be a savage episode. As always, what happens with every single 10 episodes, we do a quiz. And so that's going to be the final topic of conversation today. So we've got two other topics to go through, as well as quick news and a new segment. Now, Phil, we've had some feedback about jingles. Do you want to go in on this a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I've seen a little bit of chatter about, people comparing us to other podcasts out there. Apparently there are other PlayStation podcasts, and they all have jingles. It's something we're lacking. So for this episode, we're going to go ahead and improvise our own jingles to see what works and what doesn't. Maybe ask for a little bit of feedback over Twitter and over the socials, and then we'll either get them professionally put together, or maybe we'll just stick with our improvisations. We'll see.
It's going to be a great laugh. So, let's move on to what we're drinking today. Spencer, let's start with you.
Alright, I want a bit of a concoction. And that's because usually I just have one drink throughout the night, whether it be buds or whiskey or wine. I've been drinking wine lately, but it's not wine.
It's very sophisticated. You're following in Phil's footsteps there with the wine.
Why are you mixing on a blowout? Today, this episode, it's a hashtag blowout.
I know.
You should be on the weakest lager going, because that's what I've chosen, not to give anything away, foreshadowing my next section.
Yeah, mine's not overly strong either.
My issue, boys, is this week's been a bit mad for me. I drank on Monday, I drank on Tuesday, Wednesday was my day off, God's day, today, this week is God's day. Drank Thursday, today's Friday, and I'm drinking tomorrow. So, the drinks throughout the week are just whatever I have left. That's what tonight is.
I remember what it was like being young.
Yeah.
When you could
Your poor
drink,
liver.
When you could
Mate, I hate
drink
it.
the whole week.
Yeah.
Do you know, I went out last Saturday and it took me until Wednesday before the hangover was gone. That's the problem with age now. Like 32, I'm staring down the barrel, boys, and it's not looking good, you know? I've got two paths I can go. I can either stick with it, become an alcoholic and man up a little bit, or...
You're not allowed to say man up anymore, apparently. That's against the rules.
Is it?
Yeah, apparently that's a really bad term. My missus works in a school, and you cannot say man up, apparently, so...
Oh, do you know what? Man up to that. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. That is stupid. But yeah, so I could either go down that route and go full on alcoholic, just to get my tolerance back up, or I can just go teetotal. And that's kind of the path I'm going down at the moment. It's kind of like I'm straddling the two lines. I'm having a massive binge drinking sessions and then just paying for it for like a week.
Yeah.
It's a hard life, mate. Oh, to be young.
It's meant to be little and often. I think that's the way you should get through. And then when you get to these bigger kind of drinking sessions, you've geared yourself up for them. Sort of over COVID, I've been sort of in and out of drinking, as we sort of discussed on the podcast. Maybe I'll have two, maybe I'll have, a couple of glasses of wine on a night. And then generally on those sort of podcasts, I do all right. But it's when I try and do a bottle of wine and then the beers. They're the bad podcasts. They're the ones when you can't understand a word I'm saying. I know what I'm saying, but you guys haven't got a
So yeah, so what my concoction consists of, I have 3 Budweisers, leftovers from last night. I have a bit of Jim Beam left, my whiskey. So that's what I'm on after that. And then for the shots that I'm sure I'll be drinking at some point tonight, I've got my Fireball. And that's it.
Fair. Well, just like Phil said, about going on to the pussy lager, I'm on Coors today. I'm on Coors Light. So I'm on literally one of the lowest percentages I can get, other than like Carlsberg. So it's a solid 4%. And I used to really like this lager. And do you know what? I drank it last night. It's not that great.
No.
It's actually a way worse choice than Budweiser. I wish I'd gone for Bud. It's actually a better lager. But it was 20 bottles for £10. I mean,
That's good.
you know, you're not going to turn your nose up at that, are you? But combining that, of course, with the Jaeger. Straight up Jaeger, no Jaeger bombs, nothing like that to dilute the experience. Let's just get it in, get it done, you know? I'm getting a bit of a taste for it now after 20 odd episodes of this podcast. It's going down quite well. We'll see how that holds up in the big quiz later on. What about yourself, Phil? What nonsense are you on today?
Well, if you've gone for a light 4%, I've gone for an even lighter 3.5%.
Wow.
I'm sticking on my proven classic for these blowouts, the Budweiser Light. That's what I'm starting this evening with. But I have got a semi-excuse, you know. I did have my second COVID vaccine yesterday. So I've been feeling the side effects today. I'm a little drowsy, been a little lightheaded. I've almost basically had a COVID hangover today. So let's see if we can knock that out of the park and have a proper hangover once we get into the Jägermeisters later.
Well, the good thing is that at least with the extra 5G connection you now have with having the COVID vaccine, it now means that, you know, if you're stuck trying to make an argument or a point, maybe you might talk some sense this time because you can quickly scout the internet, you know, instead of talking about Mario being a roguelite and all the other classics that we've had over these 20 episodes. But we'll see how that goes.
What have we been playing?
So following on from that amazing jingle, Phil, you were playing Ratchet and Clank last time. Have you got any further into it?
Yeah, so I'm probably about halfway into Ratchet and Clank now. Really enjoying the game. It's very easy just to jump on, smash out a few collectibles, and have a bit of fun. It's exactly what I've been needing, sort of after I suppose more of those hardcore experiences, such as Returnal. Not that I played a lot of Returnal, but at the time when that came out, I just come off the back of the game that cannot be mentioned. So this one, it's a lot lighter, very easy just to jump in, play a little bit, jump back out, maybe an hour or two. So it suits my play style.
Yeah, so I started it since the last podcast. I'm not too far. I'm only like 2 hours into it, maybe 2 or 3 hours. But I am really, really enjoying it. And I tell you what, it is absolutely beautiful to look at. It is amazing. Now, I'm playing it in the performance ray tracing mode. How are you guys playing that game?
I played it on performance ray tracing as well. Fucking beautiful, beautiful mode.
I'm on the same as you, so I'm playing on my 65-inch no boast down here with the full kind of surround sound system. It's epic, right? It blows me away, and as I said on the last podcast, it is that kind of PS5 experience that I've been sort of searching for, definitely.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it. It's not doing anything that's really blowing my mind in terms of gameplay or anything. It feels just like Ratchet and Clank 2016, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, that game felt great. But it's not blowing my mind or anything just yet. I'm hoping that as I get into it a little bit more, maybe it will start to. But as it stands right now, it's nothing in contention to like Returnal or, Village or anything like that, But I am really enjoying my time with it, and it's a great little palate cleanser, something that I can just pick up and play, just like you were saying, Phil. After the experiences we've had lately, it's just one of those games that's just fun. It's just fun to be in and play. And I needed that without knowing I needed that.
Yeah, very true. And, as you were saying about Ratchet and Clank, it doesn't do anything new. I'm a bit further in the game than you. Spencer has completed it. And to the point I'm at, it doesn't do anything new because I've played pretty much all the other Ratchet and Clank iterations throughout all the different versions of the PlayStation. I wasn't expecting it to do anything different. The thing that's blowing my mind with it, as you said, is the visuals and taking advantage of all the extra kind of optionality that you now have on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, Insomniac can really go in above and beyond to give you as many options as you can with the game. Do you play it in pure performance mode? Do you play performance RT? Do you play fidelity? All these different things. And now they're putting in the new mode, aren't they? Which is 40 frames, but in the full fidelity mode. So it's like another layer again that they're adding onto it. So it's really good that Insomniac are giving you these options to play it how you want to play it. And I just wish more developers were doing that. Because at the moment they kind of just say, well, you've got 60 or 30 ray tracing on or off, but there's no like kind of in-between thing like Insomniac are doing. And I got to really take my hat off for them. I think it's brilliant. We
do like an option here at the NPS We Trust podcast, don't we? It's something we've been saying since episode 1. Give us the options. Why not?
Yeah, more choice you can give us. We're not going to be disappointed then, are we? So is that it for you then, Phil? Anything else you've been playing?
I've also been playing a brand new game, which came probably about a week ago. I bought Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. Alex Kidd is back to smash rocks, collect coins, and tackle bosses once again. And how you beat these bosses is with a friendly game of Jan Ken Pon. That is rock, papers, and scissors for you, Davey. I know you gave up on learning Japanese.
Too easy for me, mate. Too easy. Completed it day one, you know? Platinumed it.
So this game, developed by Sega, originally released in 1987 on the Master System. This is an old game given a lick of paint. With the DX version, it features new levels, new NPCs, alternate boss fights, and that's across 11 locations. And the best thing about it, and this is what I love about the game, because I love my retro, as you know, is that you can instantly change between the modern version of the game and the retro version of the game. So you tap, I believe it's R1, and you switch between the old and the new, and it's instantaneous. It's perfect. It's really, really cool.
That's awesome. So is that on PlayStation? Is that PlayStation 4 release then, or is that a PS5 native one?
I believe it released across PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Switch, Xbox. I think it's just literally on everything.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I never played Alex Kidd before. I mean, like being a Sega kid when I was growing up, I should have played Alex Kidd really, because that's what was the mascot before Sonic was. But I just never did it.
I'm a bit older than you, so maybe that's because I definitely had the Master System. Did you start with Master System?
Well, it was Mega Drive over here, wasn't it? So I had Mega Drive 2, so the second iteration. So like in 1992, I think it was that I got mine.
No, so you would have had the Mega Drive. You would have the Master System, and then you would have the Mega Drive, and then the Mega Drive 2.
Yeah, so I came in later then, and Alex Kidd wasn't a thing for me. I only learned later on that he was like the original kind of mascot for Sega.
And a lot of the time, when you bought a Master System, Alex Kidd would come pre-installed. So all you would do was close the lid of the Master System, press on, and Alex Kidd would boot up.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, that's fucking awesome. It's actually crazy because I grew up playing Alex Kidd because I had a Mega Drive. So it's insane that it skipped the middle generation in terms of the podcast. And that's crazy. I saw this new version of the game in-game, little local shop the other day, and I was going to buy it, but I just didn't have the funds. I'm really looking forward to getting that game at some point. I'm sure it's great.
It is very much on the lower end, and to be honest, like I wouldn't be paying 60 quid for this game, right? I wouldn't be paying 40 quid for this game. It very much is, that 20, 25 pound game, really. But everything about it arcs back to the original. Even the cover itself, if you switch it over, it has the original Master System inlay inside the PlayStation 5 case, which again, I just love.
That's cute. That's really charming.
That's really cool.
Games have definitely come on a long way since Alex Kidd. I have the kind of memories of playing it when I was younger, and that's why I enjoy it. I can't imagine this sells to a newer market, even with the nicer graphics.
Do you think, like, you guys were obviously raving on about how good Altered Beast was, right?
It's the same deal.
Yeah, do you reckon it wouldn't hold up for me? Don't think I'd like it?
I don't think you would. More than happy to lend it you if you ever pop over to Bristol. But yeah, you might spend an hour in it or half an hour, but I don't think you'd enjoy it.
Fair.
I feel the same.
Without the memories, I don't think this game would sell to a newer audience.
Fair enough. Okay. All right.
So that's all I've been playing these last 2 weeks. David, do you want me to pass it back to yourself? What have you been playing?
Sure. So I've already gone into Ratchet. I've had an amazing week. It's just been incredible for Platinums. So first off, as you know, listeners, for the last 3 episodes of this podcast, I've been working through Returnal. And I finally, after 50 hours, got my last collectible, got the Platinum. Literally the hardest I've ever grinded for a Platinum in my entire life. It was crushing. It was actually crushing. To finish the game within like 14, 15 hours, and then to spend like an additional 36 hours or whatever it was, just getting collectibles was hell. But that feeling when I got that last one, oh my God, my pop-off. I'm sure, listeners, you felt some kind of motion, birds scatter, windows crack. It was nuclear. It was, honest to God, I was like, yes! It was like a primal scream. It was nuts. And so I finally got that, and I was super, super chuffed with myself. But I do have a story. I'm going to take you on a bit of a walk here, listeners, okay? So 6 years ago, a game released called Battlefield Hardline. And Battlefield Hardline, I really liked it when it came out. It was a cops and robbers first-person shooter Battlefield game. And I really, really enjoyed it, and I got all the trophies except for one. And that trophy then is called Men's in the Hood. And all that trophy consists of is getting 25 kills with an Uzi, I think it is, and a double barrel shotgun. But to unlock those weapons, it takes hours and hours and hours of gameplay to be able to get them. Now, I put like 30 odd hours into that game online and didn't get anywhere close to them because I never played those classes that they're linked to. And so I just left it. I thought, well, I'm never going to get it. And back when I got that Marquette Platinum and I was looking for a game to play, right? I saw Battlefield there and I was like, I'd love to do it. So what I did was I reached out onto the Battlefield Hardline Reddit and asked if anybody could boost me. Silence, really. A couple of people responded, not an awful lot. And then, flash forward a few weeks later, and I got a message out of the blue where I got invited into this PlayStation network group, and these guys all saying, look, we're all going for the trophy together. One guy's got the guns. Let's all meet up on X day at X time, all get together, and we'll just all get that trophy together. And it was an awesome experience. The first time I've ever done that before and like boosted my way through something. And the community for people that are, go onto PSN profiles and go onto like power picks and all this stuff, the little community that are there that are seasoned platinum hunters and trophy veterans are just amazing. And so I want to give a big shout out to the guys who helped make that become a reality. So I want to give a special thanks out to Jon Snow 95, Sparkle, Shift God 97, Tomboy 101, and Deadstock. You guys are absolute legends. I would never have got that platinum if it wasn't for you. And now it's finally moved from 91% to 100% with a nice, cheeky platinum trophy there. Amazing experience. Absolutely loved it. And what I would say is, if anybody in the audience needs any help grinding out a platinum or getting a trophy, you need some help, then just literally write into the email. I can get you in touch with these guys and we'll all help you. Because it was such a good experience that I want to be able to help more people in the future with it. It was fantastic. It really was.
So what you're telling me, Davey, is that you cheated a trophy?
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for it.
Oh, come on. I'd done all the hard stuff. It's a bullshit trophy. It's just like with The Last of Us Platinum, right? If you could get boosted through that, would you do it, Spence?
Fuck I, mate. Yeah, of course I would.
Exactly. It's the same kind of level. I'd done all the hard stuff. I'd done the campaign on hard. I'd done all the multiplayer specific stuff. Just that one thing. I got no shame in saying that I got boosted through that.
I thought you were a bit hardcore with all this, Davey, not to like take anything away from your, cute achievement here with getting the platinum for Battlefield Hardline. But you got the platinum for Resistance, didn't you? Now, that was a hard platinum to get.
Yeah, that was a time-consuming one, but it was a fun one. So that was getting 10,000 kills. But that was just fun to do, and that was just something that just came naturally. Well, I put like weeks aside to be able to just go for that trophy, but it was just fun to do because that game was amazing. Whereas now, am I really going to find... There's like 30 people online in Battlefield Hardline. Like, you're just not going to find it. Like, naturally, it's going to take forever. Now, one of the guys boosted his way through to get the weapons with a mate's help, which is Jon Snow. He managed to do it and get the weapons so then we could all benefit from his work. So without him, it wouldn't have been possible. But hell no, I'm not doing that on my own. No way. It would have stayed at 91% forever. But I thought it was just a cute little story. I thought it was just really nice to have this. The community for trophy hunters is just a really welcoming and nice place. So, if you're looking to do something similar, as I said, write in, reach out to us, and I can put you in contact and we can go from there. So Spencer, bring us home. What have you been playing?
All right. So I was a bit busy this week because I had my anniversary with my missus and I've just not been home much. So I've only actually been playing one game this whole time. And that game is Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which obviously I bought very early on, but never actually put time into. And now, me and fellow podcast host SSJ Davey are playing it together. And let me tell you, charming, fun game. Yo, fuck the netcode. That game is laggier than Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch.
It's awful, isn't it? We're warping all over the place. It's literally one person, what one person who's hosting the game seeing, the other person isn't seeing. The locations are different. You're just taking damage off random enemies you're nowhere near. It's pretty bad for an online experience.
Next gen.
Yeah.
What's sort of happening with that studio and IP? I was a big fan of Sackboy games of past, with Little Big Planet. Definitely platinumed, I think, the original version of the game. And those games were great, but I think they were more like local multiplayer as opposed to playing online anyway.
Well, I mean, this isn't developed by Media Molecule, so even though it's the same license for Little Big Planet, it's done by Sumo Digital, and they're the guys that have released this game with the help of XDev. But I think the problem is this game, when it first launched, was solely local multiplayer, and they've since added the online functionality into it. I just don't think it was something they've put an awful lot of time into, because it's really not very good.
I mean, the game didn't even launch with it. The game launched as a local-only game, and they just added multiplayer later on. It's just, it probably should have multiplayer, let's do it for the game. I feel like they just half-assed it. They just bottled it. And I'd like them to patch it. I really don't think they will.
But overall, though, taking the multiplayer kind of lag fest out of it, how are you finding the base kind of experience playing it through?
It is very, very cute, very charming. It's a beautiful looking game. There are some levels with like songs put into them, and those levels are the fucking best. They're so fun to just run through. And then obviously the way me and you play in it, where we're trying to 100% every level for the platinum, it's just fun. The grind isn't even hard or anything. It's just quite satisfying to find all the items. Using the cards built into PlayStation is easy as fuck. It's just nice.
Do you still have Stephen Fry's voice haunting you throughout the levels?
No, you've got some wench talking to you now.
Yeah, it's more so like an actual plot for a game rather than it being what Little Big Planet was. You know, before with like the creation side of it, there's none of that. It's just a full experience, just a platformer. So the controls are a lot better than the original Little Big Planet and Little Big Planet 2. A lot better, way less floaty. It feels really nice to actually play and to move about in it. And it's more of like a side-scroller kind of platformer in a way, rather than it being a... Whereas Little Big Planet before, it was like on planes, wasn't it? Like you'd be running on one plane, you could move up or down from there. It's not like that. This is like kind of a free-forming, just a like kind of like Mario 3D World or something. More similar to that in how it actually plays. So it is very different kind of package, but it's got the same kind of charm that the old Media Molecule games had.
Do you still have the level creation? Because obviously that was a big focus in the originals, wasn't it? That you would go along and collect items throughout the game in the bubbles, pop those bubbles, and you'd have a new item to then create a level. Have they just done away with all that as well?
You still get the bubbles and stuff, but none of it's like for world creation or anything now. It's purely just for cosmetics and such. There's no world creation as far as I know. There's there's Knitted Night Trials, they're called, which are like challenge levels. And PlayStation does a tournament, which is so strange, a Sackboy tournament, where they upload a challenge level and whoever can get the best time wins, I guess. But that's about as far as it goes in terms of custom levels, just PlayStation specific ones.
It's a real shame, really, because that's the big thing for me and the reason I played Little Big Planet anyway. I quite enjoyed creating my own levels. Davey, I think you've already mentioned one of my classic levels from Little Big Planet 1, Jump the Knife. Back in the day of finding all the little bits and making up your own level, that was one of the big selling points for Little Big Planet. So that's a bit of a shame they've done away with that. Do we know if it scored as well as the older games, or
Why don't we consult Google?
the Google?
Bruh. Do you know what Little Big Planet 1 got on Metacritic?
I'm going to guess a 90.
What do you reckon, Phil?
Yeah, I would have gone sort of 95. I reckon it's really high because
95.
people loved that game when it first came out. It was so different as well.
Mate, 95's mad. It's 95.
Is it?
Oh, man.
Hey!
Wow. That's one of the highest fucking rated PlayStation exclusives ever, a 95.
Big game.
But yeah, Sackboy alternatively has a 79 Metascore.
Okay, so it's not crazy, right?
Yeah, it's alright. It's nothing revolutionary. It's certainly nothing. It's not on the same level as the rest of the exclusives we've had so far.
No.
But it's fun. It's fun. It's just something that's mindless fun. Dumb fun.
And quickly before we move on from that, was that a full price game? Or because it seems like a lot of the kind of functionality that you had in the older games has been cut back, especially when you're mentioning netcode and the creation of levels. Is that still a full price game, or are we talking sort of the £20, £30 sort of mark here?
It launched at 60, I believe.
Wow.
But you can get it now for like 45, 30 quid. Or 45, 40 quid.
Still feels expensive, doesn't it?
Yeah, I bought it off eBay for 20, and I'm really happy with that.
Yeah,
like
that's fine. That's totally
a great price.
I think I got it 30 quid.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Anything more than 30 is kind of pushing it. It doesn't feel that kind of premium of an experience, but, you know.
It depends on the experience you're getting, because I could imagine, obviously locally, you're not going to get the same lag we've been getting. So like if you're playing it locally with your missus or something, it could feel like a game that's worth more.
Yeah, it's a good point. Really good point. Quick news. So we are moving into quick news. So the first bit, PSX trademark has been filed for game conferences and exhibitions. The event hasn't taken place since 2017, so expect later on this year we're going to be having another PlayStation experience.
Next bit of quick news, Greedfall Gold Edition launches on PlayStation 5 June 30th, which is an updated version of the game with native 4K. It's going to have faster loading, improved performance, and it's going to be a free upgrade. It includes new expansion pack for free, the Vesp Conspiracy expansion.
July 6th, we've got some new PS Plus games. A Plague Tale Innocence for PS5, Call of Duty Black Ops, that's the PS4 version, and WWE 2K Battlegrounds, which I cannot wait for. That's a PS4 title as well.
Now, what's interesting to note on that is that A Plague Tale Innocence has had a free PlayStation 5 upgrade, which launches on that date, July 6th, which is going to be 4K 60 with DualSense features, faster load times, and 3D audio, and has cross-save progression with the PlayStation 4 version. So if you already own it, you can take advantage of that upgrade with no charge and carry on exactly where you left off. Fantastic news. Quick news. The next bit, Abandoned teaser app, which was supposed to launch on June 25th, has been delayed until August. That is where they're going to show off Abandoned and show it for the first time for all of us so we can finally see what that game's on about and what it's up to, and to kind of put to bed the rumours that Hideo is making it. But we'll have to wait a couple of more weeks longer.
Cyberpunk is back on sale on PSN after a 6-month hiatus. They warn not to play on the base PS4 because it still runs like arseholes. Runs at 30 generally, but still lots of pop in. It's better on the PS4 Pro, and the PS5 has it at 60 FPS, and the next gen version will be coming out later this year.
Rumour has it.
Rumour has it.
Rumour has it.
So this is our new section of the podcast, Rumour Has It, where we discuss the newest rumours and the latest news that isn't really news, that is just a rumour. So Rumour has it, the Metal Gear Solid remake is being done by Bluepoint, with Kojima overseeing it, and Silent Hill is being developed by Bloober Team. Now, I don't put much stock in this. I mean, I already was saying before how much I wanted this to happen with Bluepoint and Metal Gear. This rumour just keeps on coming and going all the time. So we'll watch this space. If it does happen, expect a pop-off which you have not seen before. It'd be like Godzilla coming out the sea. It's going to destroy cities, right? It'd be like the start of Terminator 2. So if that actually happens, Christ, I will be over the moon with it. Do you guys think this is going to happen for either this or the Silent Hill stuff? Or do you think it's just a rumour?
I want it to happen. I'm not going to say I think it's going to happen, because if I think it's going to happen, I get hyped for it, then I'm just setting myself up for disappointment. So I'm going to say I don't believe it for now, but when it does happen, I'll be buzzing, because I'd love to play Silent Hill, and obviously I've never played Metal Gear 1.
I just think it's pure bullshit, really. I just think it's something, you know, that's come about through discussions on Twitter and social media where people have been picking up this and hints on that. You know, ultimately there's no smoke without fire, so the developers are probably using a lot of the, you know, hysteria around this kind of idea to sort of boost the interest of what they're actually making. But ultimately, I'm not sure if we're going to get a Metal Gear Solid remake. As
much as I'd love it to happen, we don't have the best track record of predicting stuff on this podcast. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, yes, it's definitely happening, because I made that mistake before for E3, and it never happened.
I see what you're doing here, Davey. You're tempting fate, aren't you? By saying, oh, I don't think it'll happen, because actually, secretly, you love it to happen.
I'd pop off. As I said, I go mental for it. So the more I say it's not going to happen, chances are, knowing my luck, it will happen. So no chance of this. Never going to happen. Never want to see it in my life. Please, God, happen.
Rumour has it that we're getting a Dead Space remake, guys. It's going to be using the original as a foundation, but with added graphics and elements. I know, Davey, you're a big fan of Dead Space. Would you like to see this back?
Would love to. Honestly, this would be insane. I would literally pop off for this. I don't think, to be honest with you, the first one even needs a remake. It holds up amazingly well. It plays like butter. It plays so well. I'd be quite happy just with just a reskin on it, to be honest. Literally just be like upscale to 4K, put out, done. I'd be more than happy with that because the game is amazing. And then I'd love to see a newer Dead Space 4.
How about you, Spence? Did you ever take control of Isaac Clarke back in the day? And I don't mean with PlayStation All-Stars.
I did, mate. I did. I actually have a Dead Space poster literally right above my computer. I love Dead Space, and funnily enough, I've already tweeted out about this because I love the game. I'm interested in it. I literally said the exact same thing Davey just did. The game does not need to be remade entirely or anything. Literally, give it 4K ray tracing 60. That's it. Don't change anything else. The game is perfect.
It's like with the game that can't be mentioned, number 4, right? Where people are like really worried about that being redone and stuff because it holds up still. Now, there's an argument there. I don't think it actually does hold up too well, but for the people that love that game, they don't want it touched, right? And I think Dead Space kind of falls into that same camp but the difference is Dead Space actually plays well. So, and it's a better game. So,
I agree. I just completely agree.
Did you ever get round to playing Dead Space, Phil? Because you like your survival horror as much as we do.
I think I probably just got put off because it was an EA title. I think at the time it came off, I was very brand loyal, and yeah, I know you loved it, but it probably just didn't fit into my schedule, unfortunately. But I think it is a game that I have missed out on, and I think if it was remade, I would jump in. It is perfect for me, right?
So do you put any stock in this then?
I'm not sure if I believe this 100% because, of course, we are in the section of rumor has it. I would very much like it to happen because, as you said, I haven't played the game, and it would be perfect for me to see a remake of something that you guys have a lot of love for. And if I'm going to get a PS5 version of it, all the better for me.
I think it is going to happen. I think it's legit. And it said on the post I saw for this that it was due to EA seeing how successful the Game We Can't Mention 2 remake was. That wasn't part of it. That was like a factor as to why they might do this. Because survival horror, people love survival horror. Not everyone, but a lot of people do. So I think it's a smart move just to get those newer audiences that have been playing the newer versions of the Game We Can't Mention back into their version of survival horror.
Yeah, no, I side more on your side, Spence. I reckon there is something to this, and I think it's probably the safest way, like they did with Crash Bandicoot, in terms of just putting out a full remake of the original trilogy, seeing how much kind of demand there is, and then because that was wildly successful, they then do Crash 4. So, there is a massive drought at the moment for survival horror. There really isn't anyone else doing it apart from Capcom. And so if somebody else can come in and do something with it, if Silent Hill comes back, then it's going to be like a full 90s renaissance here. But, if that happens, I'll be over the moon with it. And I honestly think this is going to happen.
Why not release your back catalogue and, of course, raise that capital, and then you can invest that into the new game. Sounds like a great idea. Why not? If you've got the games, re-release them, make the coin.
And that's it for this section. If you guys enjoyed that, please give us some feedback on it. It's something that we want to separate from quick news so that we can make that distinction that this probably isn't going to happen. And there's rumors every single time we do one of these podcasts. So it gives us something that we can talk about and not feel like it's muddying the waters with what is actually fact. But write into the email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Let us know if you enjoyed that or not, if you want to see it come back. T is for topic, 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 T, topics.
So boys, first topic of the night. Ghost of Tsushima, Director's Cut. It's set to come out August 20th. There's a new island to explore called Iki. They're going to fix the Japanese lip sync, adding haptic feedback, 3D audio and adaptive triggers. It's going to have a targeted 4K 60 FPS with drastically reduced load times. And if you bought the Director's Cut on the PS4, you'll be able to get Director's Cut PS5 at any time for $9.99 US. And you can also upgrade directly from the original Ghost of Tsushima PS4 2 Director's Cut on PS5 for $29.99 US. What do you boys think? Phil, let's start with you.
I think I want to derail this topic straight away. And stay with me on this one. So, at E3, obviously we got the announcement of Death Stranding Director's Cut. So, do you think, guys, let me ask you the question. Do you think this is the way Kojima's going to be going with Death Stranding, in the sense that he's basically just doing what Apple do with their phones? He's upgrading everything, but technically it's the same phone that you're getting. Is that where we're going with it? I do like the addition of, you pay a smaller amount to be able to upgrade if you own the original. That's definitely a good feature, and I would obviously want that to carry through all the games that have this kind of upscale to PS5.
It's a bit of a tricky one, right? Because, yeah, I can see that Death Stranding will definitely copy this. I can 100% say that. And what's going to be interesting is that I'm going to feel completely different about Death Stranding doing it compared to Ghost of Tsushima.
Interesting. But you played Ghost of Tsushima all the way through. I don't know if you planned it, did you?
No, I haven't actually finished it yet. I'm on Act 2, and I think it's 4 acts, so I'm like halfway through the game. I've just been doing loads of side content, so I'm like 30 hours into it, and I haven't really done it all. I've basically just been messing around. It's really fun.
But then with Death Stranding, did you complete that game?
Yes, so I did everything in that.
So is this where the difference of opinion come in?
No, I'll tell you what. I'll let you know kind of what my thoughts are on this, and I'll go off on this just for a moment, okay? And this might take the conversation in different ways, and we can always bring it back. But audience, stay with me on this one, okay? Now, I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with this news at all. I think that releasing it as a director's cut is great. It's got a new island in there, and the islands have loads of content. So I have no doubt that the DLC, which is what you're paying for if you've already in the game, is not the issue. I think that's a really, really good price. The issue I have is that you've got to pay to be able to get these PlayStation 5 exclusive features, right? Like the haptics, things like that. Now, this game has already had a game boost. So this game already runs at 1440. It runs with drastically reduced load time. In fact, there isn't a load time on it. So I don't know what the hell they're on about with drastically reduced load time, because there isn't a load time on it anyway. It literally runs so well, runs at 60. It literally runs at all this stuff now. It's just that it's going to be from 1440 to full 4K. And that's the difference. It's just that you don't have the haptics or the 3D audio and all that kind of like bells and whistles. But is that worth upgrading from the PS4 version up to the PS5 version for 30 quid? I'd say no. And that's my issue, is I don't think that with Death Stranding, it's a bit of a different kettle of fish, because with Death Stranding, it hasn't been touched yet. It's had no game boost. It's had nothing. So therefore, you could say, right, well, if it's going up from a 30 FPS to a 60 FPS, 1080 or 1440 up to 4K 60, you could then argue 30 quid, yeah, that's not too bad, right, if they have additional content. But for this, a tiny minor change, I just don't see that being worth it.
I suppose with Death Stranding, obviously you had the PC version, which technically is the upgrade, isn't it? You get to play at a much higher frame rate, and of course you get the Half-Life skins, you get the bigger vistas, you get the kind of photo mode. So there is that kind of halfway step if you went to PC to be able to play it. But you are right in the sense of console, we only get the one version of Death Stranding.
So this is why I think it's a little bit different. For you guys who haven't played the game, 70 quid, for you to go in, have the expansion, have kind of all the extra content in there, and just to be able to go for it on PS5, I think is great. I think that's a really good price. It's definitely worth that. It's a fantastic experience, and even on PS4, it is jaw-droppingly beautiful. The vistas and everything are some of the best I've ever seen. It is honestly a showstopper in terms of how it looks. It's amazing. But for me, going from the PS4 version up to the PS5, 30 quid feels like a big ask. It really does. And it's a bit different with Spider-Man, right? Because I paid for the Spider-Man Remastered Edition, which was 20 quid. And that gave me, 60 ray tracing performance, kind of all the same features that Miles Morales had. But I was quite happy doing that because that game's a lot older. It had a lot done to it to make it look sensational. This, they haven't even added ray tracing in. So I'm like, it feels like a massive cost for the little amount they're giving you compared to Game Boost.
I definitely see what you're saying when it comes to the offering here with Ghost of Tsushima. But there's definitely an argument, I think, with games. When they first come out, do you buy them on launch anymore? If there's a new game that you're really into, why wouldn't you wait 6 months? Why wouldn't you wait a year to play it at its best? Because experiencing Death Stranding for the first time is like nothing else. You know, the next time I play it, am I going to enjoy it as much as the first time I played it? Arguably not. So why wouldn't I waited for the best version of that game?
I guess so. I suppose it's all about being in the conversation at the time, isn't it? And that's a really big deal, to not get spoiled, not have anything like that. But in saying that, I came to Ghost way later. I came to it like 6 months after it had already come out, before I started playing it. And did I feel like I missed anything out doing that way? No. It's tricky, isn't it? Because any single game you buy, you know that later on they're going to have patches which will make it so it performs better, so there's less bugs, so you don't have all these things, but there's something to be said about being there in that moment. And I think for most of the time, I'd prefer to be there and not get spoiled and have that kind of experience while everyone else is having it. However, I really don't know what it is, but I'm just really disappointed in this news. I really am. I don't know if it's because of the Game Boost existing. I don't know if it's just that I find that just an egregious price for 30 quid to upgrade from PS4 to PS5 when all these other games are doing it for free, And you could literally just pay £10 for the DLC like they are on PS4. I find that a bit of a kick in the teeth, if I'm honest with you.
It seems like it's a boost on a boost, right? So they're just trying to squeeze it for every penny they can.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about how, like, even just this episode, we talked about Godfall and with A Plague Tale Innocence, right? Where they're having these free PlayStation 5 upgrades with all these extra features.
Everybody's at it now. It's just a way of it's just another revenue stream for a game that you've already released.
But the thing is, those other games haven't done it at a charge to their existing player base, whereas Ghost is. And if they said, right, it's just the DLC you're paying for, cool. Absolutely fine with that. But to charge for the DLC plus a $10 extra surcharge to get onto the PS5 version, I'm not happy with that.
I feel like Plague Tale Innocence is a bit different. It's not exactly free. It's only free because it's PS Plus. It's not like if you have the PS4 version, we're giving you this. You chuck it in your console, we'll give you the free version for PS5. It's only because it's PS Plus. So after this month, you probably will still have to pay for Plague Tale Innocence. I don't know what the price will be.
Well, what's weird is that they announced this before the PlayStation Plus games were announced. So they announced that if you've got Plague Tale Innocence, you could play it on PS5, and it will have this update on this day, right? So they made that clear before it was PlayStation Plus. So no, I don't think that links.
Fair play. Wow.
But have you guys got any thoughts on this? Obviously, with you guys never playing Ghost before, are you interested? Does this get you on board to actually give it a go? How do you feel about the £70 price mark for it? How do you feel about the upgrades and kind of everything that I've been saying?
I think with this game, it's never really interested me enough, right? And I don't feel like an upgrade and the upgrades you're talking about push me to want to play this game any more than when it first came out, right? If I didn't play it the first time round, why am I going to play it the second time round? It's not something that it's clashed with anything because it was that AAA that like PlayStation really pushed. So if I missed it the first time, I wouldn't be picking it up the second or third time. Or if indeed they do a fourth step.
Director's Cut 2.
That's the next thing, isn't it? Let's coin that. In PS We Trust, exclusive, it's a Director's Cut 2.
That'd be fucking crazy. For me, I obviously never played Ghosts. I reckon it's a game I would really enjoy. So I probably will end up buying this. And it's nice that if you pre-order it, any time before it comes out, you actually get the game on PS4, and then you transfer your save when the PS5 version comes out. So what I might end up actually doing is pre-ordering it maybe 2 weeks prior, so I can make a head start, and then when the game comes out on PS5, I'll be able to notice those changes and see if there is a lot of work or if it is subtle. But I already know how beautiful this game looks because I've seen you playing it, Davey. So if this game looks that stunning in 1440p, 4K is going to be nice. It's going to be nice. The controller features are going to be nice. I want to play this game. And I think the drastically reduced load times, granted, obviously the PS5 Game Boost version doesn't even have them at the minute, but that's a version of the game that's running at 1440. Maybe there are load times when it's being pushed to 4K, and the SSD is helping reduce those. But yeah, I don't know. I want it. I'll probably end up getting it.
I mean, to be fair, I've put the game on the back burner for a while. I'm probably going to end up buying it, right? I probably am. In fact, I probably know I am, because it gives me an excuse to not play it now until August, and then I can play it then when we're in kind of a bit of a drought. But I'm just a sucker for it because I'm pissed off about it, but I'm still going to buy it. And that's the majority of the internet, to be honest, anyway.
Is it that good a game, though, if it's been on your back burner for that long? And this was a AAA title, but PlayStation pushed and pushed and pushed. This was the big game.
Well, the big game at the time was The Last of Us, right? So this released a couple of months after The Last of Us. And The Last of Us was the game that was pushed a lot more than Ghost was. It's just that Ghost was received by the public way better than Last of Us was in terms of the vocal minority, right? Who were on Twitter, the people that had a real issue with Last of Us 2, hyped up Ghost because they hated Last of Us 2, so they wanted it to win stuff, right? I don't think it's on that same level as Last of Us 2, obviously, but it is a great game. And I'm constantly thinking to myself, I've still got it installed on my PS5, constantly thinking to myself, why aren't I playing it? There's nothing that's lost me. I enjoy my time with it every time I dive in. But I think I've just been taken away from, playing Returnal, playing, the game that can't be mentioned, things like that. So it would give me an excuse to dive back in. I just wish they weren't being so scummy with this. I just wish they were doing something and saying, do you know what, guys? Just pay the £10 or £20 for the DLC expansion. And if you got it on PS5 and you got it on PS4, you're playing a PS5 version, we'll update it for free. Right? Mortal Kombat have done it. Literally, like, everyone does that now. So I do find this really, really scummy. But they've got my money regardless. So, can't fault them for it, really, to be fair. It's an extra way to make a bit of revenue, and I'm their target market for milking the fuck out of them. So why wouldn't you, I'd do it as a business owner, but it does suck. Even though, I gotta say, guys, this is the only thing that I will put in their defense. They have given us an amazing co-op expansion in Legends, and that has been received by the PlayStation audience amazingly well. And people were saying this should have been charged for. It's that good. And they did that for free. So maybe this is their way to get that extra bit of revenue back, and maybe there won't be that same vitriolic response that I've given it from the wider community, but just sucks to be me, man. It just sucks to be me and to know that I'm being nickel and dimed, but I just fucking do it anyway.
So next up, within the topics section, we have the news that PlayStation has bought Housemarque, the Finnish development company, and Nixxes Software, the Dutch development company. There's been a lot of kind of talk, I know, on socials about Sony acquiring Bluepoint as well, but that was down to a mistimed tweet by Sony Japan. They slipped up and accidentally tweeted a picture of Bluepoint. So do we think that's coming, lads, or is that just a mistake from Sony Japan there?
100%, 100%, it's coming home. Bluepoint confirmed. You don't do this and mock up an image for shits and gigs, right? You just don't do that. So this is definitely confirmed, and this is the best news for an acquisition ever. Housemarque, mega underrated. Obviously, Returnal, my game of the gen so far. Absolutely adore it. Mega happy for them. Mega excited for them to be part of the PlayStation family and to have that kind of financial backing behind them. And if Bluepoint are joining that, oh my god, give us that Metal Gear game. Just do it. Make it exclusive to PlayStation. Just do it for me.
I'm not 100% I agree with you here, Davey, that you say that why would they mock this up for shits and gigs, right? I know people who run social media accounts, and they very much do this type of thing just to spark a conversation, right? They do it for the impact, of course, right? So if I'm going to tweet out something you already know about, you might have heard rumours, it's not so impactful. But if I tweet something out that people have always wanted and then take it down by an accident, I haven't lost anything by putting that tweet out, have I? But now I've just created this mass hysteria over the news of us acquiring these companies. So I think it could be a very clever move by the social media marketers here at Sony.
That's crazy. I think it's happening. It's coming home. Bluepoint's acquired. That's it.
So how do you feel about the fact that with this news, obviously, there's been 2 studios that have been confirmed now with, Housemarque and with Nixxes Software. What are you guys feeling about Housemarque? Do you think that move was just inevitable following Returnal and with the long relationship they've had with PlayStation all this time?
I think it's timely, mate. Housemarque, for me, I've known him for I say mini games, but games on a much lower kind of budget than Returnal. So such games as Dead Nation, Stardust, and of course Super Stardust HD. Those are the games I know Housemarque for. And now they've come along, smashed it out with a bigger budget game, Returnal, and they thought we've got to get them because this company is going somewhere.
Yeah, what about yourself, Spence?
I think it's smart. I think it makes sense. I adore Returnal. Fantastic game. Housemarque smashed it. Granted, I got like 3 bugs, but I won't talk about those again. I've talked about them enough. It's just a smart acquisition. Housemarque, if they continue to make games to just a similar scale of Returnal, it's a smart acquisition. It's just perfect, really. It's a good studio to just have under their belt.
When we say acquisition, do we have any details on that acquisition other than it's an acquisition, right? Because acquisitions don't necessarily mean forever. They might be under a certain trial period. They might be saying it's an acquisition for the next 3 games, 4 games. What's the deal? Do we know any more info on that?
Well, all we know is so far. Now, obviously, we'll turn to our mate, Mr. Google, in a moment and see if we can find a price they were bought for. But what we know is that they are a member of PlayStation Studios. So they've been bought just like Insomniac, just like, Guerrilla, any of these teams.
They don't last forever, though, as we know.
No, there is the inevitable thing that they should, there's studio closures and things like that. And obviously, on this podcast, we wouldn't be surprised if we saw Media Molecule go the way of the ghost, the way they're going at the moment. So you just don't know. But from my stance on this, I'm mega excited by this. I'm mega excited for the future. If you can have a platform behind you in the PlayStation Studios where you can say, right, we got a budget to stick to, obviously, but that budget can be a lot more than what we think that we could raise ourselves, right, with the revenue from the games. We can then say, right, well, here's our vision. This is what we want to do. We can then take it to the next level. We can have even more polish. We can have, they can work alongside studios like Naughty Dog, Guerrilla, all these for like help or for using the Decima engine and all these different possibilities that it opens up being part of the family with XDev and everyone else. Fantastic news.
So what you're possibly saying is that we're going to get a Returnal director's cut.
No, I can't see that happening. But what I could see is there being now, they've already proven that they can deliver AAA titles and they sell and they do really, really well critically and with the public too. So there's nothing stopping them now saying, right, we got this vision for a game. It's fucking nuts. And we need X support. We need this engine. And they can say, right, let's get everyone behind them. Let's do this. Let's send some people over there to help them produce the project, to really get it moving, to get things going and put all their resources into them and level them up even more than they already are. They do the best arcade gameplay in the entire industry. And to be able to then raise that even higher again with production value, holy hell, it's exciting.
Okay, so you guys both seem to be smoking the peace pipe when it comes to Housemarque, but how do you feel about Nixxes software?
I mean, until the other day, I saw this acquisition and I was like, who the fuck? Who's that? And after a bit of looking into it, I found out they've worked with Square a good bit. They worked on all 3 of the Tomb Raider remake games they've done, Rise, Shadow, and the original Tomb Raider. Apparently they worked on Deus Ex Mankind Divided and Marvel's Avengers, which, forget that one. That's fine.
The Deus Ex one was one that I thought particularly raised my eyebrow a little bit, right? There's a little bit of interest because I know throughout E3 there's a lot of Deus Ex kind of predictions going on. So are we going to see Deus Ex now that PlayStation own this studio?
I wouldn't say a lot. I'd say there was one prediction. It was from you, mate.
Mate, that's 1/3 of the show.
Jesus, that's a reach, innit? That is the biggest reach I've ever heard in my life.
Actually, if we count the listeners, then that's half the show. That's half.
They
the
are
show.
on your side. They're
Massively on my side.
That's true. That's majority.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, right. Christ. You guys need to get some taste, I tell you what. Anyway, no, I don't think it's got any hope for like Deus Ex or any of that, right? But they're basically a porting studio. That's what their prowess is. So they're going to be working more in the background. And this ties into the recent news that we covered only, I think last episode, might be the episode before, about like Uncharted 4 getting released onto PC and all these different PC ports that PlayStation are working for. Now, they had real issues with Horizon when they launched that on PC, and Death Stranding didn't work particularly well when it first landed on PC either. And so they need somebody who's got that experience and who's got that prowess of being able to move it over to PC. And that's what these guys are for. They're not for the software. They're not for their expertise in game development. They're there as a studio to be kind of an intermediary almost between like the existing games that are there and PC. So what this opens them up to is exploring that PC market more. And I think that's something that, well, we've all come into agreement on this on the podcast before. I think that's really exciting for the brand to be able to bring some of the older titles to PC, get a bit of coin, get a bit of money from it, and have them work amazingly well as showpieces to then drag people into the PlayStation ecosystem that have been PC entirely. What do you guys think of that?
Perfectly said, mate. I agree. I agree with everything you're saying. But if Nixxes software are going to be fulfilling that role of porting games, do you think the Bluepoint stuff is still on? Because they're quite famous for porting games as well, aren't they?
It's a different kind of kettle of fish, different skill set. Because Bluepoint are all about seeing an older vision and then realizing that in a modern day. You look at the work they did with Demon's Souls, you look at the work they did with Shadow of the Colossus, and how they took these games that were ancient, right? PS2 game like Shadow of the Colossus, bringing it into PS4, it feeling either exactly the same if you want to play it on classic controls, or a remapped control system, which feels even better than it was before. And it looked like the showstopper it was. And Demon's Souls, arguably, as Spence would say, the best looking game on the console. I don't agree with that, but you know, they just produce these results that are just so amazing for older stuff and bringing it forward. Whereas Nixxes are more of the taking the existing game that's there and then making it so it works on other platforms. And so it's a different skill set, different kind of expertise there. The one's all about programming and design and things like that and making it look good, whereas the other one's all about the back end, making it work. And so I think now, Christ, if Bluepoint's confirmed we get both of those in the studio, in the PlayStation studios, Christ, we have got an absolutely sensational possibility of things that could happen.
You said the back end. Mate, get them working on PSN. Sort that out. That back end system is trash.
Oh, on the console is terrible. Phone's really good though. The phone is amazing. That phone app is second to none. It's amazing, amazingly good. You know, being able to download games to your PlayStation remotely. Oh, actually, speaking of, this is a bit of a side step, but I thought I'd let you guys know. When I was away last week in Butlins, I did remote play to my PlayStation at home.
Oh, nice.
On Butlins Wi-Fi, which is at 14 meg. And I thought, I'll play Returnal, right? I'll try and get some of these collectibles while I'm out there. Unplayable. Absolutely unplayable. It was unbelievably bad. But I've used it at home or on faster internet connections. It's way better.
What did H from Steps think when, he's up on stage singing his heart out and you're there on your phone trying to play PlayStation? Come on, mate. Get with the Butlins crowd.
Mate, he's lucky I'm even looking at him. He's lucky I'm even there listening to him wailing on. Like, at the end of the day, he should be coming to me and saying, Davey, I heard you running a YouTube channel with 500 subscribers. I can only dream of having 500 people listen to me. I'm like, yeah, fucking go back to the 90s, mate, with your dodgy ass haircut. Spence, what are your thoughts on all this? I haven't heard you say too much on this topic so far.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier about Nixxes kind of being the porting background, helping to move games to PC, that was a very educated opinion. Or it sounded like to me, because you kind of thought about this a lot more than I had, and it just made perfect sense. For them to just kind of help Sony do what they've struggled with doing, makes it a smart acquisition, gives them the ability to have more freedom, get projects out faster and more reliably at a better quality. And like you said, with them and Bluepoint, Jesus, it's endless. All I need now is Nixxes to just start working on Sackboy netcode, and I'm happy.
The dream.
I am kind of glad that they balanced it out though, right? So you wouldn't want them to announce Bluepoint and Nixxes, would you? Because ultimately you're not getting any new games. But announcing Housemarque, the next game's going to be a banger.
And I gotta ask you guys, I know we've kind of covered this on a previous topic, like ages ago, feels like a lifetime, but who's next? Who do you want to see them buy? Realistically now, don't say like, Capcom, because that ain't happening. But someone realistic, who do you reckon's on the chopping block? Who do you reckon is going to get offered the next bit of Sony cash to join the family? So while you guys have a think about what you're going to come up with on this, I'm starting off with an obvious one. Kojima Productions. Get them in the family as soon as possible. Do it. Kojima himself is such a big name. He's one of the few big names in the industry. You know, with like Miyamoto. Things like that. He's on that level where his name alone is worth its weight in gold. And I mean, for me and Phil, obviously we're completely biased on this because we love every single thing that Kojima touches. So I can't wait for more from him. And if you can get him exclusively in the family, God, that's a massive win. That has to be on the cards, surely. But that's just my take on it. What would you feel about that, guys? How would you feel about Kojima being tied up in PlayStation?
Kind of just feels like it's a matter of time now, mate. He's so heavily linked with everything PlayStation are doing, and his name gets drawn into these conversations every single time, right? I'm honestly surprised that Sony Japan didn't flipping tweet out about Kojima joining by accident as well, right? That is definitely bait. That's the fish on the end of the fishing rod to reel in those likes and those retweets.
Yeah. Can you imagine? That would be a massive announcement, that would be huge. So I thought, Phil, that you'd agree with me on this. That would be a big deal. Spence, would that mean anything to you? Do you think that's a smart business move for PlayStation buying up Kojima Studios or Kojima Productions?
I think it's smart. I don't think it's entirely necessary because clearly they already have a great relationship with Kojima. I feel like he's not really going anywhere. Even if they don't acquire him, acquiring him would just mean he cannot go anywhere. He's limited to it, but I think he's happy to stay here anyway. So other than him getting maybe a bit of a bigger budget, which would be nice, I don't think it's like really necessary, but it makes sense. It would very much make sense.
With Xbox buying up everything left, right, and center, don't you think there's a worry there that if they don't get to him first, that Xbox are going to just offer him some enormous sum that he can't refuse? At the end of the day, money talks, right? And if PlayStation said, "Oh, just continue to work with us, that's great, we'll shake your hand, we'll give you a cheeky nosh around the back every 3 days or whatever, and that's great, stay with us," but then Xbox come around and say, "Here's 30, 40 million, 500 million, whatever it is, two fucking billion, whatever Xbox pay," right? And they're like, "Come to us." You'd take that, right? You wouldn't want just that cheeky handshake and a cheeky nosh every 3 days from PlayStation, say, thanks for being here, we'll slurp it down. You'd want that money in your bank.
Mate, Hideo Kojima is more likely to come out with his own console and do something as mad as that than sign with Xbox, in my opinion. I think that is so out of possibility. You're dreaming. I don't know what you're smoking.
Phil, I completely agree. I think you could chuck $1 billion at Kojima and he'd grab it and burn it in front of you. He's a mad dude. You have no idea what he's thinking, what he's doing. I think if Xbox came to him, he'd just be like, who? Who? I don't think it's necessary, really. Obviously, it'd be smart, but yeah, you ain't going Xbox.
Fair. So have you guys decided on what you'd have or who you'd want to sign?
It's a difficult one because I'm not sure what I said in the last time we had this conversation.
Doesn't matter. It's a new episode.
Well, new episode, and maybe it's the same view, but ultimately, a development studio which I've always had my eye on. It arcs back to my love of Transformers and their versions of Transformers War of Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. So this is the active Blizzard-owned studio, High Moon Studios. I would love them to come to PlayStation and do more Transformer games because for me, as a traditionalist when it comes to Transformers, I don't like much outside of Season 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? I like Optimus Prime and I like Hot Rod and I like Unicron. I like all the classics. I don't like anything past Beast Wars. For me, is just trash. And they did that IP justice in the games that they created. So I just love to see more from them.
Fair. I mean, I don't care about Transformers, right? I don't care about them. But I do know that they did a really good job with those games. And they were fun to play. And I played a couple with you over yours. And they are fun. Even though I don't care about Transformers, I think they're pretty lame. I'm all about Beast Wars. That's my thing.
That's age.
Maybe. Just Beast Wars are just cool, aren't they? You can turn into a cheetah. You can turn into a gorilla. Turn into a spider. You can't do that with a Transformer. You just turn into robot. It's a robot car.
Well, they're all robots, mate. And we did have some animals in the originals. But anyway, High Moon Studios also did work on a lot of the Call of Duty stuff as well as the Deadpool game, which was pretty famous.
I bought that game. I was really excited for it, and it was so disappointing. I hated it.
Do you know what? I never played it, but it looked pretty interesting to me. I mean, you had Nolan North as a voice actor for Deadpool at the time, and it had loads of crossover with X-Men and stuff like that. It looked like a good, fun little game to play. So I don't know why you hate it so much. It's got a cult little following behind it.
It looked very similar to sort of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, in my opinion. It was like around the same sort of time, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I from what I've seen about that game, it looks really fun. I've never played it myself, so I can't really pass any judgment on it, but it does look like a fun little game. Probably a cheeky little platinum, that one.
Anyway, Spence, what studio would you have Sony buy out?
Right, so I've just done a little googly poos. I had a look at some independent studios, and the one I've chosen, Davey should know it. It's Arrowhead Game Studios. And the reason I chose them is because they made Magicka in 2011, which won Game of the Year at the Swedish Game Awards. Great game. I loved Magicka, played it on PC on release. But the game I'd want them to come to Sony, to PlayStation, and make would be Helldivers 2, because they made the original Helldivers.
Fantastic. Oh my god. Yes. Helldivers, one of the best games on PlayStation 4. One of the best games. I love that game more than anything. Hell yeah. That would be great. I don't think it would have the same kind of pizzazz as, like your Insomniacs, your Housemarques, that kind of thing. But in terms of me, oh my god, that would be a massive get for me. I love that game. Such a well-made game. It's one of those games that you can play at any point, holds up amazingly well. And yeah, fantastic guess. Oh, pipe for that. Love it. I'm really surprised you guys didn't come out and say From Software, Really surprised. Really surprised. And the two other studios that I thought, right, they could be in contention, they're not tied down by anyone at the moment, would be Arc System Works and From Software. Those are the two that I think, oh my god, they're like massive names, right? They're like big gets. And sure, they got contracts with, Bandai and stuff like that, but like From's already worked with Sony before in the past with Bloodborne and with Demon's Souls, which released on there originally. I could see that happening, but I imagine they'd have a big price tag now compared to what it would have been years ago,
Maybe let's throw this out to the listeners. Of course, if you've got any views on this and you have a well-loved studio that is going begging at the moment and you think Sony should pick them up, why not email into the show, inpswetrust@gmail.com. Of course, you can join us on the Reddit. That URL will be in the description. And as Spence will say, you could join us on Twitter, and that's @inpswetrust. The big quiz.
So every 10 episodes of the podcast, we do a quiz. And the whole idea of it is that we do a blowout. So we just get trashed. So the way it works basically is each of us have assembled a quiz with 5 questions.
Did you say blowout?
I said, blowout!
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 All of us have assembled a quiz of 5 questions each. Those 5 questions get asked to the other hosts. So Spence, tell us how we're going to organise this in terms of who goes first.
Okay, so last time we did this, I have an iPhone, we used Siri. We all gave ourselves a number, 1 through 3, and we just asked Siri to pick a number. And whoever she chose was the person to deal the questions first.
And the way it works is, whoever gets the most points by the end of this will then be able to dish out 5 shots of Jaeger to the other players on the next episode. Now, for each question you get wrong, you have to take a drink on the quiz. Now, how do we want to do this, boys? Are we doing this in shots or are we doing this in fingers on a bottle?
It's supposed to be shots, isn't it?
It's supposed to be shots.
It is a blowout, mate. So let's go for shots. Come on, we're all prepared for this. We all have the Jägermeisters at the ready.
The only additional rule you need to know is that whoever asks the question, the answer cannot be the same for the same people. So it means that if I ask Spence something first and he gave me an answer, Phil then cannot use that same answer, even though he may know it's right. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. Someone's got to take a shot. All I'll say before we get into this is last time the guys were fuming with me for my quiz questions, and so I've gone out of my way to make them a lot easier than they were before, and there is no GCSE questions in there because, as we learned last time, those guys, they're just not a GCSE level of education. But that's just the way it was.
Interesting to see where you take this, Davey. Are we going back to primary school? Are we naming colours?
I don't know if I'm not confident enough that you'd be able to do it following the last quiz, so I've made it even easier than that.
You know I've got an arts degree, right? I know my colours.
Well, let's dive into this now. Let's pick our numbers, ask Siri, and get this underway. I'm going to be number 1, because I'm the best.
Fine. I normally come second whenever you introduce us. Like online, it normally goes Davey, Phil, and Spencer. It's usually Anne Spencer, isn't it? And we've got to have Phil Spencer because it's the Xbox reference. So yeah, I'll go 2. Spencer is the 3. Davey, you can be number 1.
As always. Okay, so let's start this off then. Do it, Spence.
Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 3.
A random number between 1 and 3 is 3.
So I'm obviously first, boys. Whoever does the best in my questions, which aren't really revolved around either of you, not gonna lie, will get to go next. So that's the little additional rule there. Are you boys ready to start the big quiz?
Hell yeah, born ready. Let's do it. Hashtag blowout.
Bring it on, Spence.
Hashtag blowout. So for my first question, it's my only In PS We Trust podcast related question. And the question is as follows. What date did episode 15 of In PS We Trust entitled Hitting the Button go live? Was it A, April 28th, B, April 14th, or C, March 31st? Phil, you get to go first.
Can I hear the options again, please, Spence?
A, April 28th, B, April 14th, and C, March 31st.
I'm going to go A, April 28th.
Okay, and Davey?
I'm going to go April 14th.
Do you think that's right, or do you think Phil got it right?
No, I think that's right. I'm just totally guessing.
You think that's right? Okay. The answer is A.
Yeah.
April 28th.
In your face.
So that's a shot for Davey.
I can work out dates in my head. So for the blind listeners, Davey has taken the Jägermeister to his lips. Yes, we can see it tastes disgusting.
It's terrible. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Bring it on. Number 2.
Number 2. Gran Turismo is the best-selling game on the PlayStation 1 with 10.85 million sales. But how long did it take to develop? There's no multiple choice. Baby.
You want about my quiz being fucking hard? How long did it take to develop? Oh my god. I mean, this team take forever. I don't know, were they developing it back in fucking Atari days? 4 years.
You think 4 years, Phil?
I'll go 3 years then. If Davey's going for, if it's a full year, I'll go 3 years. Davey's going to go 4 years. We'll see what happens. Both of us are drinking, aren't we?
I'll tell you, Davey said 4 years was really long back then. It was actually 5.
Whoa, 5 years on PS1. Holy hell. Chin chin then, Phil.
Get it down, son.
Question number 3. Speaking of number 3, the PlayStation 3 has been used to research what? A, cancer, B, stars, or C, black holes? Phil, it's on you.
I know. And I think it's cancer.
Do you?
Do I? I don't know. Now I've said it, it seems mental.
You told me to take Davey's first answer, so
You can take my first answer, that's fine.
I'm gonna have to. Davey, mate.
I know it's cancer. I know it's cancer. Yeah, it is. It definitely is cancer. I know it is. I know it is hands down because I was part of this program. It was cancer, yeah. It was some kind of disease anyway. It definitely wants stars. It definitely wants fucking black holes. Well, I do like a black hole because, you know, like I say to my wife. You know, it is my dick. It's got such a big gravitational force.
2 shots, listeners. That's all it's taken. Because he's been drinking Coors Light all night, and that's 4%. 2 shots, and he's talking about his dick.
My dick is called the event horizon, right? Because as soon as you get in close proximity to it, you're getting drawn in, right? It's like a Star Trek tractor beam. And so I'm going for a black hole on this because that is exactly what I relate to in my day-to-day life. It's a struggle. Listener, it's a curse. It's a curse.
Mate, I'm not gonna lie, that really pissed me off. Do you know why that pissed me off?
Why?
The answer is black holes.
Shut up! No, it's not.
Is
It is. It is.
Folding at home was black holes.
Are you sure?
I'm not saying folding at home, whatever that is, with black holes, but the PS3 has been used to research black holes. I just wrote in stars and cancer. I had no idea if it has been.
Oh wow, we might be talking about something else then, Phil. We might have been on. We might be talking about folding at home. Oh, fuck! I tell you what, I'll take that answer, mind.
I'm pretty sure folding at home was cancer.
It might be, but that might not be what Spence's on about.
So he's
No,
on
it's not.
about a very similar kind of situation with the PS3 where
It was used for black holes, and obviously I just made up the other answers, so I was like, oh, what do people research?
cool.
Stars and
That's fine.
cancer.
Take your
I
shot,
put
mate.
stars because it was similar to black holes, because black holes is the right answer.
Bloody hell! Thank God for my dick. Thank God for my Event Horizon knob.
Is this the first time your dick saved you in a situation like this, Davey?
My dick's constantly saving me.
Well, cheers to Davey's dick, black holes, and cancer. There we go.
Cheers,
You don't
mate.
say that every day, do you?
No.
I should go on a t-shirt. How was that one? Well, I look like you enjoyed that a little bit, Phil.
No, I absolutely hate this.
Ready for another one? What's the next question, Spence?
In episode 30, get Potato Chief on, not me. He's going to sub in. Ugh. I'll do the first half of the show. He can pop in for this.
The next question. Question number 4. Now, I need to ask ahead of time. Can I say the game that hasn't been mentioned?
Yes.
Try it. I'm doing the edit.
Yes, I'd say yes, you can. Because if it's part of a question, it'd be fine. It's like normally we don't have it in. Normally we don't mention it in what we've been playing, but we didn't actually mention it there. So I'd say you're fine.
Okay. So then, question number 4. How long did the first Resident Evil game take to develop? 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And this goes to Davey.
3 years.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Phil?
I would have said shorter.
I'll stick with the 4 years then, I guess.
It's 3 years.
3 years. Let's go.
But after your question about Gran Turismo and that being like the longest time, he's always going to pick the lowest, isn't he? So
I should have done the multiple choice 2, 3, and 4. I shouldn't have done 3, 4, and 5.
I literally would have. I literally would have gone
You'd
for
have picked
18
two.
months. I would have gone for
Yeah.
18 months. That was an option. I would have gone for 18 months. That's a total guess. 3 years for Resident Evil. I mean, it's a masterpiece.
It had a lot of changes throughout its time, is the thing. That's why it took so long.
Well, originally it was going to be made as a first-person game. Did you know that?
Yeah, first person, co-op, multiplayer, frickin'.
Multiplayer. Was it really?
Yeah,
What,
it was
LAN?
supposed to have multiplayer. Yeah. No, yeah, like local multiplayer. It's supposed to have.
Wow.
well, there's shot number 3 then, guys. Come on.
Bring it home, Spence. Question number 5.
Question number 5. We're back to Resident Evil.
Again.
My last question. I've got to bring Resident Evil in again. Love the game. In Resident Evil 2, you were able to find Albert Wesker's desk in the police department. And if you checked his desk 50 times as either Claire or Leon, you would get the item Film B. What does this item depict?
I know this.
It's Phil's choice. A. Conversation logs between Wesker and Ada. B. A photo of Rebecca Chambers. Or C. Information on the prototype virus that gave him his abilities.
It's a really difficult one. Because I don't remember ever picking that up. So I'll just go A.
We're going for conversation logs between Wesker and Ada.
Sure.
It's the Rebecca Chambers photo. So what number was that? Was that B?
That was B.
It's B.
The answer is B, and it's Rebecca Chambers in a basketball outfit.
Yep. It's in a green little outfit, and it's a special costume in Resident Evil 0. If you need to know that, listeners.
I thought that was a nice little Easter egg to include.
It's one I actually knew for a change, which is really nice. Resident Evil questions. Hope they come up more often.
Yeah, he's been playing them for the Death Stranding questions, isn't it?
I've been playing them like every single week, for reviews on YouTube, but Okay, so I scored the highest then on that quiz, so I scored a grand total of 3 answers. Phil, you scored 1.
Just the one for me.
So it's time for my quiz. So prepare your assholes, boys. This is going to be a ride. Okay, here we go. Question 1. True or false? Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold more copies than the entire population of the UK times 3? Spencer, you can go first.
I'd say true.
Phil?
I've got to go false.
That game's been top of the charts for years.
The answer is false.
Fuck!
The answer is more than twice at 145 million units sold, and the UK population is 66.65 million. So it is 2 and a bit, but it's not 3. Phil, you're totally safe. Spence, take your shot.
All I thought was, I know GTA 5's made peas.
Yeah.
I know that game sold so well.
It's insane. It's actually insane. 145 million units.
It's been on PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, and it's coming out on PS5 Series X.
He's taking a shot. Put it back like no one's business. And he's not in the mood to drink right now. He's not feeling that. How was that for you?
Oh, it does taste nice though, not gonna lie. If it's minging in your throat, it hurts, but it tastes banging.
Question 2. Phil, your turn to answer this first. Which PlayStation exclusive IP has sold the most units across its entries?
So no multiple choice
Multiple
here.
choice.
Nope.
Wow.
I guess Uncharted.
In it, 'cause there's 4 of them. And Lost Legacy and Golden Abyss.
What would you say then, Spence?
That's all I thought. First one I thought as well, but I'm not sure how well they sold. I'm torn. Because the issue, I don't know how well everything else sold. I know how well Spider-Man sold. Spider-Man.
It was across the entire PlayStation. I didn't say PlayStation 4. I just said PlayStation. It was Gran Turismo. It sold 80 million units across its entire lifecycle, way outselling everything else. The biggest IP that PlayStation own is Gran Turismo by a landslide. Second is God of War. Followed that third by Uncharted. And fourth, I think, by The Last of Us.
So who gets the point?
Neither of you. Both take a shot, please. Phil's put it away. No one's business. Took that like a man. He's getting used to it now. Spence breathing out. Oh, and he's put it back. Oh, lovely. He's saying, oh, I loved that one. Loved it.
No, they're getting worse.
Question 3. In episode 18, Midnight Caller, what time is Gundam time? Spencer, it's your turn to answer this.
What time is
What time is Gundam time? Phil had a midnight delivery. As we said, that's why it's called Midnight Caller.
Oh,
But what time was it? The exact time.
we need the minute.
Yeah. We state it in the episode. It was 2 episodes ago.
Oh, I'm gonna say like 11:53.
Phil?
I'll pull my shot now because it's arbitrary, isn't it? 11:55.
11:40. Midnight Caller.
You're not even doing close sets.
That's not midnight.
No, not at all. Not at all. Take shots. Oh, yummy. Yummy.
It's nice. I'll tell you what, it's nice. This is the first episode I have a shot glass.
That's a big deal.
So I can actually have shots instead of drinking them out my lid.
Number 4. Resident Evil is a series which has been running for over 25 years. Leon Kennedy has appeared as a series mainstay since Resident Evil 2. But what is his middle name? Phil, you're up first.
I think I know the initial is S, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is S. It is S.
A name beginning with S.
What is it then?
Stephen. That's what I'm going for. Leon Stephen Kennedy.
Spence, over to you.
Do we know Leon's religion?
What? What has that got anything to do with it? It's
I don't know, I just
outrageous.
feel like a lot of middle names are based off religion. Mate, I want to say fucking SpongeBob, you know. I don't know.
I thought
Freaking.
you'd get this.
Oh my god.
It's one of the ones I thought was easy.
Yeah, but you're a crackhead. You were looking at me like mine were mad, but I gave you multiple choices. Within the GT development time. Mate, fucking Samuel.
Scott.
Oh! Fuck!
That would have been the third choice for a name beginning with S, wasn't it?
It is, yeah. Leon Scott Kennedy. Leon S.
I think
Kennedy.
Stephen. I think Stephen works.
Mate, I so knew it was Scott. I knew it was Scott.
He's got it. So you both have your shots now. I hope you enjoyed them, because we're on to question 5. The PS5 released on the 12th of November 2020. Since its launch, which game has the highest Metacritic? We love Metacritics on this show. Which game on PlayStation 5 has the highest Metacritic? Spencer, over to you. Think about it. Think about
So
it.
hard. I'm thinking. I know Sackboy's 79 or like 78. I know Village, I think, is like 82. I want to say. Returnal got quite good Metacritic. Shit. I'm gonna say Miles Morales. Fuck it.
What about you, Phil?
Am I going to go Astros?
Demon Souls. It's Demon Souls at 92.
Oh my God, it's Demon Souls.
Highest rated game.
I knew it was 92.
Highest rated game on PlayStation. So that is my quiz. So, how did you guys score? What were the score results?
Phil got 1, I got none.
Take your shots then, boys. Haven't seen either of you take your shots for this one. So take your shots and we'll move on to the final quiz.
Okay, for mine, I'm going to change the rules slightly, and I know our button was cut out of the show on your 2 quizzes, but for mine, it's back on. Okay? So if you say it, unfortunately, you'll have to take a shot. It might come up. We'll have to see. Okay.
I wonder what one of the answers is.
This is bullshit, but okay, go on.
I mean, your quiz was heavily weighted towards people taking shots, so let's see where mine goes.
Nice. Okay, bring it on.
Okay, my first question. Ratchet first appeared in which crossover? Was it PlayStation's All-Stars? Was it Jack's X? Was it Everybody's Golf 4? Or was it PlayStation Move Heroes? And I think, Spencer, you can give me the first answer. Do you want to hear them again?
Yeah, yes.
So we got PlayStation All-Stars, so that's the Battle Royale. We got Jack's X. We got Everybody's Golf. And we got PlayStation Move Heroes. When did Ratchet first appear in a crossover? Seeing as we've all been playing Ratchet and Clank, I thought this was an apt question.
It's big. It's actually a great question. I don't think it's A or D. And Everybody's Golf, it being that would be a bit mad. So I'm going to say Jack X.
Davey, what are you going to go for?
I would have said Jack X is a racing game. If I remember rightly. I think Jack X is a racing game. I'm going to go Everybody's Golf.
We have ourselves a winner. Ratchet first appeared in Everybody's Golf 4.
Oh my God.
Correct, Davey.
He was in Everybody's Golf.
Apparently that was his first crossover.
Exclusive.
So that was the first time.
That game's exclusive on PlayStation.
I know it is. Yeah, I know it is, but that's mad.
Spencer, that's your first shot, please.
I was going to say, I knew it wasn't A or D. I knew it wasn't.
I think they're too new. I think they're 2 new games, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. They were both way too new.
Okay, he's now finished. Question 2. How many games did the PS3 have on launch in North America? This is a topic we covered on a previous show. Was it A, 14, B, 21, C, 29, or D, 11? Davey, you're at first.
What were the answers again?
A, 14, B, 21, C, 29, or D, 11? And we're talking about the PlayStation 3 launch in North America, and that's important.
21, I'm going to say. I know the list was massive when we looked at it.
Spence?
I thought the opposite. I thought you were going to say what I thought it was. I thought 14.
We have ourselves a winner. Spencer, you are correct with 14. It was the PS4 that had the 21 games. Davey. Unfortunately, you've got the 2 mixed up. Slightly late with that.
I knew that.
So PS3 had 14 games on launch. PS4 had 21 games. The PS2 had 29 games, and that was my favourite.
Yeah,
and the PS5, unfortunately, only 11.
I knew that. As soon as you said 14, I was like, I know it's 14. And I looked at Davey in my eyes on my screen, and I was like, please don't. I was like, please don't say 14.
Damn. You win some, you lose some, boys.
Okay, question 3. Which survival horror game developed by Capcom follows the stories about a biological weapon and viral incidents?
It's me first, right?
Do you want to get this right or wrong?
You can't use that. You can't. What?
Can't take visual. I don't accept visual clues, and I don't accept Japanese versions of the title. So you either get this wrong or you get it right.
It's that one based in Spence's mansion, isn't it?
Which one's that?
I got a diagram. Do you want me to show? I got the blueprints literally right here for the mansion.
Which one? Which game?
Alright, well this question's not a question, is it?
It's 100% a question, because I think both of you are going to get a shot, a lot like all of Davey's questions.
No, but we could have got it right and not had a shot. Whereas this, when you get it right, you have a shot.
Well, maybe you won't. Maybe you won't. I'm thinking it might be something else.
These are my rules.
Dino Crisis.
That's what I would have said. Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Davey, you got it right. Take a shot. Spencer, you got it wrong. It was, in fact, the game that Davey mentioned.
What game was that, Phil?
That's a shot each. I'm not having any more shots, boys. Take a shot each.
The button is now
Shocker.
back active, boys.
Without looking, what is the title of episode 4 of In PS We Trust? Is it A, Head of Hydra? Is it B, Pipe Dreams? Is it C, It's a Big Member? Or D, Pipe Dream? And this goes to Davey first.
I got a feeling Head of the Hydra is episode 6.
So you've got Head of Hydra, you've got Pipe Dreams with an S, you've got It's a Big Member, or Pipe Dream with no S.
Pipe Dreams.
Spencer?
I'll say it's a big member.
We have ourselves a winner. Spencer, you got that correct. It is A Big Member, episode 4 of In PS We Trust.
Episode 4?
Sorry, Davey. Take your shot.
Literally, I thought it's definitely not Head of Hydra. And I thought you having the 2 Pipe Dream variations is to throw you off.
Worked on Davey.
Yeah, that was my train of thought.
I just was trying to think, what would have happened back in like October, November? What would we have been talking about? We were talking about my dick back then. It's a recurring segment on the podcast, the Event Horizon. Oh.
Okay, question 5. Who was the original PlayStation mascot? And this is going to go to you first, Spencer. So was it Crash Bandicoot? Was it Polygon Man? Was it Sly Cooper? Was it Parappa the Rapper? Was it Vibey? Or was it Jak and Daxter? Who was the original PlayStation mascot?
I'm going to say, and just because out of all those, he's my favourite, Parappa the Rapper.
Davey?
Love him. Whereas Davey disagrees.
I'm going to give you my rationale. Okay, I think Crash Bandicoot came out in 1996. PlayStation 1, I think, launched in 1994. I think it was Polygon Man.
We have ourselves a winner. Davey, you are correct. It was Polygon Man. And he was killed off before the console's US launch, but he was the original mascot. Sony's got a sense of humour about this, and Polygon Man actually resurfaced in PlayStation Battle Royale as one of the bosses.
Amazing.
So Spence, take your shot.
So, hang on. I'll drink for it. I don't have any more shots. I'll have to drink my bud. He was the mascot before the PlayStation even launched.
Because it's all about showing off the 3D graphics, showing about what they can do with the technology compared to, at the time, the only things that they had was the Sega Saturn and the, and the SNES. That's it. N64 wasn't out yet. So it was to show 3D graphics.
Well, that brings us to the end of the blowout big quiz. Without looking, Davey's won. Congratulations. I've been Phil.
Yeah, it's impossible for me to win. I've been Spencer.
Hey, before we end, I got 2 questions that you guys might want to know. All right? And
No drinks.
no drinks. These are just for fun. So I've won the quiz. So that means that the total standings so far, Phil's won 1 quiz, which he won on a tiebreaker, which was bullshit. Just his birthday, he had to answer. Bullshit. Fucking question. Hated it. Anyway, so I've won 1. Phil's won 1. Episode 30 is all for Spence to win. I got 2 special questions that I had as backups. So I'm going to give you 2 questions just for fun, and the audience, you can play along with this at home. Okay? Question 1. In Metal Gear Solid, you encounter Psycho Mantis, who, using his psychic powers, can read your memory card. In the English version, he can read 4 different games. Name me 2 of them. Spence, you can start.
It's... Oh, I've seen it. I've not played this game, but I've seen, this. I've seen it happening. It's all over YouTube all the time. It's going to be like PlayStation first party, so I'm going to say Gran Turismo. And I'm going to say Final Fantasy 7. Or Final Fantasy.
Let me give you a hint, because you're way off, okay? Give you both a hint.
Sure.
It's a Konami project.
I don't fucking know what Konami made. Hello? PS1?
Yeah, PS1 Konami games you're thinking of.
I don't know what they fucking made. I ain't played Metal Gear. You think I played their other games? What do you mean?
What would you guess? 2. Think of franchises Konami used to do.
Fam, I ain't played Metal Gear. What do you mean? Okay. Last of Us 1, Last of Us 2.
No. Phil?
To be honest, I thought it was Final Fantasy. But maybe that's something I've seen doctored like on Twitter lately.
Innit? I thought it was.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
The one of them's obvious. The one of them's really obvious when you know it's Konami. So the 4 games are As Your Dreams, Suikoden, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and Vandal Hearts. Castlevania should have been the easy one. Castlevania was in its peak back then. Anyway, here you go. Here's one for you guys. Last one. The Last of Us 2 is set how many years after the death of Joel's daughter, Sarah? Phil.
Asking questions that aren't multiple choice, right? I know the topic, but I have not got a clue. I'm going to go 4 years, whatever. I'll cut all this.
4 years? You reckon it's 4 years from the start to where you play? You've seen what he looks
He's had
like.
a hard life. He's literally a mass murderer.
You reckon it was 4 years of that hard to age him that much?
I know Nathan Drake cuts off, right? And he looks younger every single time. But if I killed as many people as Joel, I think I'd look pretty old.
In 4 years? Spence, it's not 4 years. What do you reckon it is?
No, mate, I know it ain't 4 years. I'd probably say...
It says at the start of the game, by the way.
No, yeah, I know nothing about that because I know how old Ellie was in Last of Us 1. And I know that time skip. So I'm trying to think of what was Ellie's age in Last of Us 2.
This is Last of Us 1 I'm on about, by the way. Never said Last of Us 2. I said, this was the question. Said, in The Last of Us is set how many years after the death of Joel's daughter, Sarah?
Alright, well, Phil can check the edit. I swear you saw Last of Us. I swear you said
No.
Last of Us 2. Because I thought, what a sick question.
No. The Last of Us 2 is set how many years after the death of Joel's daughter, Sarah?
9 years. Is it wrong?
It's 20 years. 20 years later. It literally starts at the start of the game after she dies. It says 20 years later.
I was going to say like 20 years for Last of Us 2.
No.
So
It's
that's
5
mad.
years later, again, from Last of Us 1.
Wow. I knew the time difference between 2 and 1 was like 5 years.
Yeah. So it turns out you guys just fucking suck. So that's my question. So audience, if you've done really, really well on this quiz, pat yourselves on the back. Let us know your scores. You can write into the email, pswetrust@gmail.com. I've said loads of times before I got games to give away and I've been looking for an excuse to do it. So if you honestly, and this is on a trust basis, and I'd just be quite happy to get rid of these games, to be honest. If you scored good, or you think you did all right, write into the email, let me know how you did, and I'll ship you a game. It'd be a shit game, but it would be something you get for free. So, you know, beggars can't be choosers, okay? Robot Wars is gone. I haven't had any response for it, but I've got Dance Dance Revolution. I've got all these bollocks games to go. So if you think you've done pretty well, write in, let me know how you did. You can also reach out to us on the Reddit. So Phil, fill us in on those details.
Okay, yeah, so I handle the Reddit, and of course the URL will be in the description of the podcast. I know, Spencer, you're over on the Twitter, aren't you?
I am, mate, I am. So you can reach out to us on Twitter @InPSWeTrust, and of course our individual Twitter accounts, which we're probably a bit more active on, is going to be in the description below.
Now, if you guys want to do a massive favor to us and something to help us with finding a larger audience, then please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us come up in the rankings. And just to be honest, it's just a way to really help us out. So I'd really appreciate if you would do that over everything else. But in terms of taking control of the show and giving us topics, giving us stuff to talk about, write in, let us know. But it's been a pleasure to have you listen to us. Thank you so much for being here for this. 20 episodes in. We never thought we'd be here back in the start of October when we started this podcast. The podcast is growing across the world. It's really nice to see. Thank you for every single one of you that stick around and listen to us every 2 weeks. Really appreciate it. Especially when you got Philip Hoy and Spencer on here who would just talk mad shit. But I've been Davey.
I've been Phil.
And I've been Spencer.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters, @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. See ya.